Switched on IT is proudly brought to you by Oz Hosting, Cloud Made Easy.
Welcome to Switched on IT. I'm Barry. This is the show where we talk about everything IT. In last week's show, Doug and Ray talked about chat software, but their focus for that week was on the sales side of chat software. So people that contact you on your website, through your chat room if you have one, and want to talk to you about sales. Now, sales is only one aspect of a chat room software. The other thing that where you can support people is actually in support, and there are lots of different software providers out there that provide you with chat software, both for sales and support. So today, Doug and Ray, who are with us now, welcome, gentlemen. How are you both today?
G'day, Ray. Pretty good.
Hi, Doug. I'm doing well.
Good. Now, Ray, last time, as I was just saying, we talked about chat software for sales. Today, you're going to talk about chatware for support. Is there a difference? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, so there are actually a lot of similarities between live chat software for sales and for customer support. What I would recommend for everyone to do is to obviously watch the prior episode before watching this one, and so you can hop back over there, watch that, and then come over here. But the goal for us today is to really cover those three basic areas again for the differences between those software. So we're going to talk about the benefits. We'll talk about some of the best practices for customer chat in general, customer support chat, and then we'll talk about some of the tools, many of which overlap, but maybe we'll talk about some of the other tools that are out there for customer support chat. So let's start off with the benefits. Doug, what do you feel like are the biggest benefits for folks who are using customer chat for support?
Look, I think one of the biggest benefits is that it does allow you to get more productivity, more in a sense, customer engagements out of your existing support team. And it's extremely convenient for the customer. So customers, our experience is that customers very much like to be able to go online, type in a quick question. They might be having an issue, or they, in our case, it might be they had difficulty sending an email. It didn't seem as though it went through, or it took a long time to go through, and they want to know, is there an issue with any of the email platforms that Oz Hosting offer at the moment? Has Microsoft got an issue, or has Oz Hosting got an issue? And it's very easy for us to sort of ping them straight back and reassure them, or say, yeah, there is an issue. Microsoft or Oz Hosting or somebody has posted an online update on their status page, and it keeps everybody informed, very quickly, very efficiently. So I think there's some great benefits in terms of the customer's experience with your product or service when you open up chat for that sort of capability. It also allows us to keep the pressure off our phone lines. So very often, we're dealing with more complicated things on the phone where, there needs to be a bit of a question and answer. There's an iterative process that you're going through, often in support engagements with customers, and that is better on the phone. And very often, our support guys engaging in a conversation on the chat line will say, would you be okay to flick across to the phone so that we can do this better? Not everybody can type fast, and it's a much more rapid fire conversation when it's by phone. So it gives you that ability to, a sense, put some filtering in place in your support capabilities with your customer, where, maybe the first thing that you do is it's simply just online chat. It might be, my domain name seems to have an issue, and our guys can go back and go, well, your domain name's not even hosted with us. We host your website, but your domain's somewhere else. And yes, there's an issue there, but we can't help you with it. Great. It's done. They haven't had to be on the phone. It's very, very simple. And then for the more complicated support requirements, then you're able to flick them across. So definitely a good customer experience. And I think that the other benefit of this is that, well, I do feel as though there is increasingly now an expectation that businesses will have this capability. So I think in a sense we're kind of being forced to have it, but it is beneficial, and it does give us in a sense greater productivity with our support lines. And bearing in mind, if you use the chat support capabilities intelligently, you can also put in some sort of text, so that if people are talking about a particular subject matter, you can respond with something which might guide them to finding their own solution, which is another form of gaining some sort of efficiency from it.
Digital marketing at A1 Supercheap Tyres is paramount. With having local search on board, they're definitely a part of our business. They are like having a marketing team of your own. It's by far the most important thing to this business and surviving and growing.
Oz Hosting is proud to support Switched On IT in bringing practical help to Australian businesses. We're talking to literally hundreds of businesses every day about their IT services, how to make them more efficient, how to make their businesses more efficient, and how to protect their valuable data. If you'd like your IT services securely hosted right here in Australia and expertly managed, talk to Oz Hosting.
Mind, Body, Soul with Perth-based international speaker and influencer Gwenda Smith. Every week we explore the world of business and personal development with an exciting new format with some of the world's leading experts on productivity, mindfulness, sales success, personal development and more every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Only on ptvchannelo.com or the PTV Channel O app. PTV Channel O. Discover a whole new world of entertainment.
When the going gets tough, advertising is a must. Thousands of potential customers make buying decisions every day based on advertising they've seen or heard on radio and television. Are you losing sales because potential customers don't know what you offer? Get your business, product or service in front of thousands of potential customers with a joint advertising package on Power FM and PTV Channel O. Capture a multimedia audience with our affordable radio, TV media advertising package. Stay ahead of the pack by contacting Barry on 0431 390 920 or email feedback@ptvchannelo.com or Jeff at powerfmtoowoomba@gmail.com.
But we're very much, we're an online business. We're sort of in the cloud, so customers would expect that from us. But I do think that there would be a lot of different businesses that are not providing hosted solutions or sort of technical products like ours. But it could be professional services, and it could be bricks and mortar engagements as well, where online chat is going to have a role. But I wonder, Ray, in those other kind of businesses, what's your experience? What are you seeing with those sorts of businesses?
Yeah, across all retail, in terms of product or service business, I always say that live chat in terms of customer support is gaining steam, but it's also a really wonderful way for people to be able to overcome some of those long customer service solution timeframes. That cycle from problem to solution, by being able to reduce that, increases positive reviews across all properties, whether that person has a Yelp profile, the business has a Yelp profile, or whether they have a Google My Business listing. And so that's what we really want to do, is we want to use customer support chat to be able to increase moments of elation for the customer so that they do want to be able to go ahead and leave reviews. And so one of the big benefits is that you can place a link to the review site of your choice and say, did you have a great experience with us? Yes, you had a problem. But we've responded to that problem in such a way that you're pleased, you've walked away happy, Now go review us. And that's what we really want to see. The number one benefit from my perspective for bricks and mortar retail to e-commerce and otherwise is that if you are on any kind of review platform, including your own website where you want to gain reviews, you want to be able to have people say, you know what, this company is reputable because they know how to solve my problems. Right? They always say that it's, service after the sale. This is the component that you really need to lock down on to be able to get repeat business and referrals. And those reviews are one really strong way to do that. And what I see a lot of businesses doing is leaving that business on the table. They're not capable of getting more business because they're not capable of doing both the review process, making sure that they're requesting reviews at the end of each support ticket, live chat ticket. They're not making sure that people are aware that they even want those things like referrals and repeat business. And so you need to make sure that you are doing the cross-selling and upselling in those live customer support chat moments. That does require more training of the people who are doing it. If you're a single solo practicing attorney and you've got live chat on your website, at least here in the United States, that's very unlikely just because of the regulations and kind of the typical culture around that kind of work. People are not going to feel comfortable engaging through a website program about their legal situations. But if you're a small, product shop, maybe a clothing retailer in a downtown area, and you have customer support on your website where you're capable of answering both sales stuff on one side, but on the other side you have customer support. Say I bought a piece of clothing for my niece and it's not the right size, so I need to figure out how to package it up and return it to you. Just having you answer those questions and get me the right solution right then and there, that's a sales opportunity built into the customer experience. And that needs to be understood as a part of the business model, right? So how do we make sure that people who come to us for what would be mundane, everyday customer support issues are being given both a great experience digitally, but also being given a retail sales experience as well that would make them want to either buy again or to send us to someone else to buy as well. And that's really, for me, the huge benefit here is that there's another marketing avenue, another marketing touch point that's being given to people through that customer support experience.
Yeah,
because you otherwise wouldn't have it. If you picked up the phone and called into the store, it's just not the right environment where I couldn't say, hey, by the way, we have a new sale going on. Click on this link and you can go check it out, after we're done talking, right? I can't do that over the phone, where you could do that in chat. That I think is really, really powerful. Let's segue over to some of the best practices that I think we should all be taking to heart when it comes to customer support chat on the websites. I'll start us off, Doug, with kind of the number one thing that I always tell people, which is on the other side of every digital communication is another human. There's another heart and mind on the other side of every digital experience. And what so often I get is businesses that set up the customer support chat stuff and they write the text, like the introductory text and any of the support chat templates that are being used by support agents, and it all sounds like a robot. It all sounds very much, not human. And we need to remember that live chat on a website, specifically for customer support, or especially because of customer support, is done because somebody is already experiencing a problem and it relates to your business. Right. And that's just a part of doing business. Right. Not everybody's going to be happy. Not everything is going to work. And even when things, I bought a product and I just don't know how to use it, and I reach out to the company to be able to use it. That's not that I'm unhappy with your product. It's just that I don't know how to use it. But that's already a frustration point for me. So connecting with you through live chat really does require the business to kind of understand immediate empathy and compassion for the individual on the other side. And that really helps to kind of arrest any frustration or negative affect of the individual approaching the site, right? They're gonna have a shorter temper. They're gonna want things plainly spelled out for them, and so on and so forth. And many times that kind of robotic, non-conversational approach can immediately derail a good customer support chat session. So I just always recommend people out the gate, be human, be humane, show empathy and compassion, and try to understand where people are coming from when you open up a support chat with them. And you need to train your staff on doing the same. What else do you see, Doug? You come across a lot more of this than I do. So what's your experience in terms of folks coming frustrated and guns blazing, because their website or email hosting isn't working?
Well, we get a little bit of that, but most of the sort of engagements that we see, coming in on our chat line, are generally people are pretty sort of polite and well behaved and playing nicely in the sandpit, which is good. Sometimes there are some guns blazing, and very often they're sort of blazing in the wrong direction because something's happened, but their developer has not kept the website secure, and it's full of holes, and it's got malware in it, and as a hosting company we can't do anything about that. We're just hosting whatever they give us, and sometimes that's one of those things that happen. But people get sort of, as long as you respond to them, exactly to your point, it's a human on the other side of the screen there, and our guys are, I think, generally pretty good at using the person's name. When people come in and they say, "Hi, it's Daniel here," our guys are going back, "Okay, Daniel, what are you trying to do today, or what do you need help with, or something like that." And I think it's very important that they do that, and they say, and this is Vanessa, or it's Johnny, or whoever it might be, from our support team that is having that conversation, because I think it's human behaviour that people don't want to be abusive to another human being who they're about to ask to help them. So it sort of makes sense that they do a little bit of diagnostics first and go, before I yell at you, I'd better make sure that firstly I'm not then going to ask you to help me, and then I don't want to be embarrassed to find out that what I'm yelling at you about has actually got nothing to do with you. And that's always a risk, and it's actually quite frequent that happens, that people are getting quite grumpy, and it's they've got a problem on their PC, and it's mangling stuff, or their network connection or something like that, and it's not really related to their hosting environment. So people are getting savvier and savvier, and they're being polite. Our guys, I think, are always pretty good. One of the challenges that you have is just being able to respond quickly enough. And of course, people on the other side of the conversation aren't doing this, like it's the only thing in their life right now. So, our experience is that we often find that we can see our support guys asking a question back to the inquirer, the customer, and then there's no response. And then 15 minutes later, they sort of come back in and they type in the answer, and then our guys have gone on to another chat line, or they're engaged in a phone call, and then you see this sort of, stretching out. And I think sometimes there's a bit of a sort of criticism, back at our support guys, and I really don't know, what the answer is to that, because you just can't keep that screen open. If you open another chat line to answer another question, or you need to go onto another, page of a website, open another tab because you've got somebody on the call and you've got your face in their particular account and service, it gets a little bit tricky sometimes to deal with that. And I don't know that the chat technology makes it easy to, if you like, imagine having a number of different pages, windows open on the screen simultaneously with different online chats. I haven't seen that in the chat service that we're using, but certainly, back to your question about best practices, I think recognising that it's a human on the other side, being as responsive as quickly as you can be, as quickly as you can respond, being able to direct them to the right information if self-help is more their desire, or being able to quickly get them on the phone if the matter is a little bit more urgent is really really helpful in that kind of situation.
If you've lost your income or had a change of earning capacity through no fault of your own and are struggling with debt that you can no longer handle, you probably feel a bit like this ant. If the struggle is getting you down and you feel overwhelmed, there is an answer. Central Liaison has helped thousands of people break free of the debt struggle by handling their debt for them. Freeze all interest, stop the harassing calls from the bank and start enjoying life again. Call them today on 0409 344 070 for a confidential, obligation-free chat about how Central Liaison can help you take your life back. The number again, 0409 344 070. Call them now.
Digital marketing at A1 Supercheap Tyres is paramount. With having local search on board, they're definitely a part of our business. They are like having a marketing team of your own. It's by far the most important thing to this business and surviving and growing.
Power FM is total entertainment. From the morning drive with Fiona and Jeff to the drive home with Jeff Black. On the weekends, catch the Crazy Kevin Show, Dennis Mitchell's Breakfast with the Beatles, the Semi-Pro Sports Show, and Racing Nation with James O'Shea, plus the music you grew up with. Keep your radio dial locked on Toowoomba's Power FM, celebrating 10 years. You'll find us at 88.0 on the FM dial or online at www.powerfmradio.com.au.
Looking for exposure for your next event or function? Take your next community event, training seminar, sports event, official opening, function, concert or exhibition live to the world with PTV Channel O and Power FM's unique live simulcast. We can turn your next local event into a worldwide sensation for a fraction of what you would expect to pay. No matter what the event, PTV Channel O and Power FM can take your message to our audience. Invite the world to your party by phoning 0431 390 920 or email feedback@ptvchannelo.com.
Doug, my experience with Oz Hosting is that your support staff are pretty good at responding and they're pretty helpful. But one of the things that frustrates me on other sites is if you get on and you ask them a question and you ask them to do something for you, often they won't say to you, just hold on a minute, not responding quickly, and suddenly the customer's left sitting there with no response, and you think, well, gee, have I lost them or something? And I've often had to type in, hello, are you there? So I think one of the best practices is for support staff to let the customer know what they're doing so that they don't think that they've suddenly lost the connection.
But very true, Barry. It's great when I see our guys saying, give me a minute. This is going to take a little bit of investigation, and I'll come back to you. And people will be fine with that as long as they're not left hanging. The other experience that I see, because at Oz Hosting we're frequent users of online chat as well. We're dealing with very specialised products from sort of highly technical businesses that are vendors to us, and we're on their chat lines, sometimes chasing up problems that our own customers have got, and so we have first-hand experience of what sort of inadequate chat can look like. And the other thing that certainly we're exposed to quite frequently is, in a sense, using artificial intelligence, using AI, and trying to have predictive chat. So many times, whether it's me or one of our guys, we're typing in the subject matter that we're addressing the chat interface with, and it comes back with, maybe 3 or 4 hyperlinks saying, one of these links is going to provide you with the information that you need to solve the problem. And I have to say, my experience is they never seem to even go close to grasping what the subject matter is, even though very often there's very few words in the English language left to describe the subject matter. You're very, very specific about, what the subject matter is, and you get directed to stuff that's you can't fathom how it can possibly be relevant and help you solve your problem. So I think for those that are trying to cut back on the number of support staff they've got actively engaged in the chat line, clearly there's a fair amount of work trying to figure out how you let customers self-support themselves in doing this sort of thing. We certainly haven't figured it out, and we're pretty manual. But that would be the other thing I'd say in terms of best practices. I'd say businesses need to monitor if they're providing these sort of self-help links in all their online chat. They should just go back and see to what extent people stay on them and follow them through, or just bounce straight back to the chat and obviously going.
And I think, Ray, from your comment about there being a person behind each of these things, in terms of one of my frustrations with some of the customer support chat rooms is that, and I may be different from others, but I don't usually go to a support room until I've gone through all of the links and the FAQs and all the rest of it, and I've done my own homework, and it frustrates me to death to then go and say, well, I've exhausted everything I can do, I'd better go and talk to somebody, and the response that you get is, oh, well, here are some links that you can go and have a look at. And that's completely unhelpful, because I've already spent all my time doing that. What I want is somebody to give me a real answer.
Yeah, you're an outlier. I mean, I wish that everybody did what you did to begin with, right? Something that maybe your audience doesn't know, or the audience doesn't know, is I'm one of the Google Small Business Advisors for Productivity, but as part of my kind of ongoing desire to make sure that I stay sharp in terms of all the various Google products, I spend a considerable amount of time in Google Help, which is the Google support channels. I'm actually one of the Google Chrome product experts, and I watch and I try to respond to questions when people have them in Google Help. And again, it just keeps me sharp in terms of paying attention to these things. But you would be surprised at the number of people who just place questions into these kinds of support threads with no pre-work whatsoever. And here we are. I'm a volunteer. All of the other product experts in the Product Experts program for Google are volunteers, right? We're trying to just help people because we're trying to help. And they've done none of that pre-work that you have done. And so it's just, we have to remember that the vast majority of people are coming to that chat. They see it as an option for the closest distance between A and B is a straight line, right? And the live chat there, they perceive as that straight line. And so they don't do any more work. And so you do have to provide a little bit of friction to reduce the amount of support tickets that are opened in live chat that may be completely not necessary. You don't need to have that experience of sitting in a queue, talking to a live person when the data has been given to you already. So while Barry is an outlier, I actually recommend to everyone that you actually do some mitigation so that you can set up a support database, have FAQs fully developed. Those things are going to be really helpful for you, including doing video. So this is no longer just like, writing up a couple of instructions and throwing them on your website. You really need to show video of how to overcome some of these basic problems, the things that you hear about over and over and over again. Then when someone contacts support and they haven't gone through that process, you can then direct them to it and feel good about that reality. And then you can say, okay, have you watched our video yet? Okay, if not, then I can help you from there forward, because clearly there's some kind of problem that goes beyond what our support database, our FAQ database has provided. Now, on the issue that Doug was talking about earlier of people coming and then disappearing, many times the chat software is limited. right? So if I'm on my phone, for example, and I open up a customer support chat, with a company, if I browse away from it, it'll disconnect me from the chat sometimes, or other kinds of problems because I'm on mobile. And because most of the browsing today is done on mobile, or at least half of it, give or take, right? If half of one out of every two people who come to your business website and opens up a customer support chat session is on a mobile device, a lot of these tools need to get better at understanding that and provide a better kind of experience. So what I've been recommending to clients is to do this. In essence, if you open up a customer support chat session with a customer, with a visitor, and they say, "Hi, I'm a customer. I bought this thing and I need some help," and you respond to them, and then a period of time, you choose the threshold. That's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, what have you, and they just AWOL, right? They've disappeared for all intents and purposes, and they've not told you that they have disappeared, then to send a message to them and say, here goes a customer support link to schedule a live customer support session, and you will book a time with an agent who will be able to help you. And that way, they have 10, 15 minutes of dedicated time to solve their problem. And what that does is the lots of back and forth, and what I've been doing is paying a lot of attention to the data on this. A lot of the back and forth that happens actually takes far more time than just having a scheduled time with people to deal with that. Because what that person did is they're trying to get their problem solved in between bits and parts of their day. They're trying to be efficient, but unfortunately they're being ineffective in doing so. So if you can say, no, I just need you to sit down for 15 minutes at this time of day and get it solved, then they're much more likely to solve that problem, because they will sit down at their desktop, they will have that time in their calendar, and they'll be hopefully real time with that person. You can even do a face-to-face where you're on video with them. You can do screen sharing, something to make them know that they should not be, washing the dishes, trying to drive across town to an appointment while getting customer support chat session, stuff taken care of, right? That's what I think is a big part of that problem, is that people are trying to do multiple things while they think you're doing multiple things as a support agent. And so like reducing that as much as possible. I know it's not possible for every business, like in Doug's particular business, that probably wouldn't work as well, but it might. We've gone to a perspective that all phone calls in the business are scheduled now with me. So if someone wants to talk to me, they must schedule a time to talk to me. There is no pick up the phone and call Ray and have a quick chat. Unless I am supposed to be meeting with you right now, I'm not answering the phone. And that is a purposeful decision to give customers the best possible support that I can give. But I've just decided that when I pick up the phone, it's usually spam. That's frustrating. Two is that most of the time when customers call me, I don't have their file in front of me. And it takes me time to be able to pull up their file, to read about what their issue is, and then to be able to give them a consistent, thoughtful answer. And most of the time, they're busy, they're calling me between things, and so they haven't really given thought to what their problem is and how they might solve it themselves. Because in my business, most often than not, people are coming with problems that they need to solve. I'm giving them information to be able to solve the problems. And so in my unique business, I just made the decision that all things are scheduled. And I think that in some way, shape, or form, live chat pushes this envelope of needing to be always on and always available. And again, we're humans, and I don't think that's true. There are certain businesses that need to be on 24/7. Totally get it. I totally understand that. But for the vast majority of us, if I can't live chat with Barry in the middle of the night, that is not the end of my life. It is perfectly okay if I can wait and schedule a time to talk to Barry if I need to. And if we just do this more, then people get into the culture of it. And I think a lot of businesses just don't do that. So long way of saying, you need to set the culture for live chat. That's on the sales side, but as well on the customer support side in terms of how you want to interact and engage with customers. They will follow suit based on how you set them up for success. If you say to them, if you want me to give you the best service possible, this is the way in which I can provide it. Most of them will be fully reasonable. I mean, some are not going to like you, and quite honestly, they shouldn't be your customers anyway, right? They can go down the down the street to the next person. And I've realized that, right? There are certain clients of mine who, over time, we just recognize that we're not going to work well together, right? I'm highly responsive. I try to be thorough with my work, but I will not be called at 9 o'clock at night and be expected to provide drop everything service. I'm not in that world. I'm not in IT or ICT. I'm not in emergency medical services. I am not 911. If you need 911 services, in the United States, it's 911. What is it in Australia? What's your emergency services number? Oh, there you go. 000. If I'm not that person, then I do not need to be called in the middle of the night for any reason. I'm sorry, So I've just made that choice about my business and how I need to run it. You need to do that for your business. And once you set up those boundaries, then you set those boundaries up for your staff. Something that comes to mind, just as a brief aside, is on the email side. I found that we were in the company, just generally, everybody was emailing 24/7. And I decided about 5 or so years ago that we would go to strict 8 to 6 Eastern email times, so that after 6 p.m., all email was to cease in the company. And at 8 a.m., email could begin again. And what I found is that productivity really accelerated thanks to that. And so people could email after hours, but they had to schedule that email to go out the next morning at 8 a.m. And they couldn't email anyone before 8 a.m. That is, none of our clients or anyone else was to receive an email before 8 a.m. And what this did was two things. It taught our customers that they could send the email anytime they wanted to, but we're not going to deal with it till the following morning. And the other side is that they'll get a response from us, but they'll get a response to us in the hours of operation that we're running. And that also reduced stress for people to be able to go have their personal lives, to go do their own work and that kind of thing. From a management perspective, it actually reduced my stress levels because I was emailing late into the evenings because that's my way. And what I found was my staff was responding back to me, but I realized that I was interrupting their time with their family and those kinds of things. Because I'm the owner of the company, they felt an obligation to immediately respond to me. And I said to them, no, you should not be responding to me. I'm sending it to you in my leisure to get an answer from you at a reasonable time from you. You should not be doing that. So I give that little vignette to let people know that you need to set some standards that are also balancing those customer support chat agents. Have to do a heavy burden usually. They're dealing with people in all kinds of environments, and you need to make sure that you are giving them the right structure and kind of boundaries to live healthy lives, and that's going to make them more productive and actually be better customer support agents, right? If they're unhappy, if they're stressed out, they're going to lash out at your customers, and that's going to obviously not be a good thing. And I found that just by doing something very simple, which is mitigating our email to specific hours, everybody's happier. Both customers get responses back faster, they get better responses, and everybody else has a better work-life balance. And again, we're not EMS. Nobody has to worry about pulling out a defibrillator and saving a business. All of that can be done during business hours, and it's pretty easy to implement these things once you get a good understanding of it.
Have you got a wedding, birthday, corporate event, or even a school disco coming up? Well, make your special occasion memorable. A professional DJ and compere really makes a difference, so go crazy! With Crazy Kevin, International DJ. He's available for all your entertainment needs. Just call 0459 336 832 or email crazykevindj@gmail.com.
Digital marketing at A1 Supercheap Tyres is paramount. With having local search on board, they're definitely a part of our business. They are like having a marketing team of your own. It's by far the most important thing to this business and surviving and growing.
Mind, Body, Soul with Perth-based international speaker and influencer Gwenda Smith. Every week we explore the world of business and personal development with an exciting new format with some of the world's leading experts on productivity, mindfulness, sales success, personal development and more every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Only on ptvchannelo.com or the PTV Channel O app. PTV Channel O. Discover a whole new world of entertainment.
When the going gets tough, advertising is a must. Thousands of potential customers make buying decisions every day based on advertising they've seen or heard on radio and television. Are you losing sales because potential customers don't know what you offer? Get your business, product or service in front of thousands of potential customers with a joint advertising package on Power FM and PTV Channel O. Capture a multimedia audience with our affordable radio, TV media advertising package. Stay ahead of the pack by contacting Barry on 0431 390 920 or email feedback@ptvchannelo.com or Jeff at powerfmtoowoomba@gmail.com.
I think the final thing that we were going to chat about was, a business has decided, yes, we should have online chat. We've gone through what the best practices are. Where do we get a good chat service? What are people using? So certainly in our space, we've been using a product called Drift. But Barry and Ray, we were talking before about the interplay between having an online chat system but also having a support ticketing system. And just for our viewers that aren't familiar with these ticketing systems, a ticketing system generally will generate an email which will go to a pool of support and subject matter experts. And when it goes into the ticketing system, that is then date and time stamped. And then if you've got some smarts in the ticketing system, it will route the ticket to the subject matter expert to deal with that particular support request. And when you've got a situation where a number of human beings, many pairs of eyeballs are looking at a ticket, that is vastly preferable to, for example, a customer sending their account manager their support request who might be on leave, whose mailbox is reviewed by somebody every day, but maybe it's every second day or something like that. So I'd say to the extent that businesses have a reasonable number of support requests, and particularly support requests that might need referral to experts in the organisation for a diagnostic process and a response, then I think a chat service that incorporates a ticketing system is well worthwhile. And on to that extent, at the moment, our chat and our ticketing system are disconnected from each other. But I've got to also admit that we're using, for the ticketing system, we're using Freshdesk, and that actually does include a chat line. And we're just in the process now of transitioning from the standalone chat service to one which has got the ticketing system. So not every business is going to need a ticketing system, in which case services such as Drift might be perfectly acceptable. But Ray, we were talking before about all the other sort of ticketing systems, some of which, all the other chat services, some of which incorporate a ticketing system and some incorporate CRM and those sorts of things. I was wondering, would you just take us through who you see the major players are out there at the moment?
Yeah, so I think just like in the last session, look to the software you're already using, and if it incorporates live chat, then you can use it most likely for customer support as well. This kind of comes back to one of, I think, a good practice, which is to understand where you're placing your live chat. And so some people decide to put live chat on every page on their website, and that sometimes is problematical. You need to think about where people need support and where people need sales conversations to get answers to those things. So you need to make some choices up front about whether or not you have a system that's doing all things in one space, or whether those things are separated from one another. So for example, on the home page, as well as some other pages on the website, you may decide that those are going to have sales related live chat options. And then on, say, the contact page, or on other pages that are like the FAQ page or the support page on your website or things of that nature, those are going to have your customer support live chat options. And it's not going to be foolproof. There are going to be people who bleed over and across those particular areas. You can also have options inside of the chat that says, hey, is this a sales question or is this a support question? And therefore it will route it to the right people. It depends on the tool, right? So similar to Doug, we invested in Freshdesk, the Freshworks platform, and that of course comes with FreshChat, which is a live chat functionality for our website. And we've just made the decision that we don't want everyone to have access to live chat on our website. So we've tried to make sure that it's displayed to the right people at the right time, and even going so far as to, having our customers, the ones who are logged in essence, having the live chat display to them, whereas not displaying it on the public side of the website. And that's helped to reduce the amount of live chat sessions that are erroneous, people just asking basic questions of us that don't belong in our support system. And we've set up a specific email address also for customers, so when they email into the system, they'll get put into our support system for getting those types of questions answered. And I've just taken to forwarding emails in there as well, so that's been really helpful. So we're in the Freshdesk world, or the Freshworks suite world, but if you're using HubSpot CRM that has a live chat tool, if you're using Zendesk for your support system, that also has a chat tool. So just look to the tools you're already using and just ask, does it already have the live chat functionalities, and will that support us in customer support? Then beyond that, then you start to look at the other tools that are out there. We talked about Facebook Messenger last week. We talked about the Olark and some other platforms. If you're on WordPress, there's Talk2, and you can just implement this technology fairly easily. And that gives you the ability to be able to activate it on your websites and other properties for those purposes. So I just like the idea of not having live chat everywhere, because it tells people that that's the way in which you do business, and that may not be, right? So just don't go willy-nilly enabling it on all your pages, because then you're going to get requests, and if you're not handling things 24/7, you're going to all of a sudden get deluged and people are going to have poor experiences. So I say, when you're starting out, start out with a specific page for a specific set of hours and do that really well, and then you can expand your support of more hours and more properties across the web that you have. So you can say, okay, well, this particular page will support, but this page we won't, because most of the time people who are on this page, we want to buy stuff. We don't want them to ask us support questions. So you have to make some choices there. I don't think that for most websites, at least in the businesses that I see, require live chat on all the pages. You really want them on these specific pages for sales and for support, in those right pages for those right reasons, and that usually works out as a good balance.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, and so the just talking about all the different providers, I think sort of ticking them off. We mentioned Freshdesk and we mentioned Zendesk. They would be in the ticketing space, I guess, two of the main contenders. And then there is also even services or providers such as Salesforce and HubSpot, which have got very strong CRM capabilities, but also online chat. Ray, does Salesforce and HubSpot also incorporate a ticketing component, or do they offer the full suite? What's your experience in that?
Yeah, so in both of those cases, those are CRMs, so they're going to handle non-support related stuff. So you would need a separate support system. I mean, you could do it, kind of baling wire and duct tape and make it work, but it's not going to be quite as seamless for the support staff. I mean, it's really for the support staff in that sense, and it would muddy up your sales data to know what's going through the pipeline in terms of sales. So I would separate the support system. If you do need a help desk type system, like in your business, Doug, I would separate the support system from the CRM, and then if you need the data to talk to one another, do that data processing, the synthesis and analysis in the back end, as opposed to trying to merge the tools into the same environment. It's kind of the benefit of something like Freshworks, because you have those two tools on either side of the entity, but the back end is basically connecting it all. And so, you have Fresh Sales on one side, you have Fresh Desk on the other side, and it's handling CRM and support, but they're two islands, and the two don't need to meet unless you want them to, and you can see the reporting databases associated with it. I've not really had a lot of experience yet with Fresh Chat, which is their web chat functionality, and the Fresh Desk functions, mostly because we end up handling those things very differently in our own world. But I do like the way in which Freshdesk handles the ticketing system and our ability to be able to merge tickets, assign a ticket to the right person, and for me to be able to see how quickly we're responding to people and resolving tickets, so that we're able to see, okay, well, you know what, we're doing a pretty good job here in terms of answering these types of questions and queries from people. But when someone asks us questions about these things, we're kind of dragging our feet on these things, and we should probably put in some better processes to make sure people are getting a great experience in that regard. So it's like looking at that kind of data that has been really useful, that I'm sure your current ticketing system maybe provides or doesn't provide, but it has been something nice for me to be able to see.
Yeah, it's definitely got a pretty solid reporting system, so that we can see what our response times to tickets, how many tickets we're getting a day, who's doing the most tickets, and you definitely need some kind of suite of metrics in there to make sure that you're responding sensibly to all the inbound support requests you're getting, and you know how to resource it and those sorts of things. So yeah, they're sort of key capabilities in a ticketing system. I think we've covered this subject matter pretty comprehensively, so I was just going to ask Barry if you got any further questions or comments or anything else anyone would like to raise.
No, I think we've covered that pretty thoroughly. One of the things that I think that Oz Hosting's phone support does really well and could be transferred into a live chat session is that your support workers always say, now, if we get disconnected, I've got your phone number here, so if we get disconnected, just be aware that we'll be back in touch with you. I think that that's a really good segue for support people to be using, and I think that probably that could be used in the live chat as well, just to let people know that I am here, but if we get disconnected, we'll be sure to be back in touch with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but you bring up a good point, Barry, which is that remember that live chat is not a panacea, right? It's not going to solve all support requests, and businesses need to know how to toggle between those really well. And that initial information that you collect from someone when they open up a new chat with your business needs to be thorough enough, right? It needs to be name and at least a first name, so that you can personalize the conversation with them and humanize them immediately, because user 5496278 is not the way in which you should appropriately address somebody who is reaching out to you for a support issue. And getting their email address and or phone number means that if they do disconnect, right, like I was talking about earlier, like if someone is disappeared for 5-10 minutes, I don't have a problem with disconnecting the chat and going away. My business is not designed around that anyway. But in Doug's case, he has a commitment to dealing with that ticket to its end, and if that person disappears and he wants to be able to reconnect with that person, you can do something like that, but now you have the contact information to do so. But if you didn't know who that person was, then there's no way to really deal with that. So getting maybe an account number, a phone number, email address, that kind of thing gives you the ability, and many of the tools have that functionality built into it. Even Facebook Messenger, free Facebook Messenger, has the ability to push out questions to people so that when they do make contact with your business, it'll give back questions and and say, hey, what's your issue? What's your name? Those kinds of things, so that when you see that, message come through, even if you weren't there to take the live chat message, it will now collect that information. You'll have that available to you. So just use the technology, learn what the technology is, and think about the things you need to support people, and then choose the software that does it best.
Terrific. Okay, Ray Sidney Smith and Doug Endersby, thank you for your time today. We will look forward to picking up another topic with you next week.
Terrific. Thanks, Barry. Thanks, Ray.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye. This week we have been discussing chat rooms and support, particularly in chat rooms. If there's anything out of this session that you would like to know more about, if you have questions, if there's something that you would like expanded on, or if there's another topic that you would like Doug and Ray to cover, please be in touch with us. Our email address is feedback@ptvchannelo.com. You can also contact us on our contact page on this website. Remember that we have a full suite of social media. There are the addresses on the screen for you. Be sure to contact with us or connect with us there. Go and like us on Facebook. Share this with your friends. And next week we will pick up another topic with Doug and Ray when we talk about everything IT. You've been watching Switched on IT. This has been Barry. We will see you again next week.
If you've lost your income or had a change of earning capacity through no fault of your own and are struggling with debt that you can no longer handle, you probably feel a bit like this ant. If the struggle is getting you down and you feel overwhelmed, there is an answer. Central Liaison has helped thousands of people break free of the debt struggle by handling their debt for them. Freeze all interest, stop the harassing calls from the bank and start enjoying life again. Call them today on 0409 344 070 for a confidential, obligation-free chat about how Central Liaison can help you take your life back. The number again, 0409 344 070. Call them now.
Have you got a wedding, birthday, corporate event, or even a school disco coming up? Well, make your special occasion memorable. A professional DJ and compere really makes a difference, so go crazy! With Crazy Kevin, International DJ. He's available for all your entertainment needs. Just call 0459 336 832 or email crazykevindj@gmail.com.
Digital marketing at A1 Supercheap Tyres is paramount. With having local search on board, they're definitely a part of our business. They are like having a marketing team of your own. It's by far the most important thing to this business and surviving and growing.
Looking for exposure for your next event or function? Take your next community event, training seminar, sports event, official opening, function, concert or exhibition live to the world with PTV Channel O and Power FM's unique live simulcast. We can turn your next local event into a worldwide sensation for a fraction of what you would expect to pay. No matter what the event, PTV Channel O and Power FM can take your message to our audience. Invite the world to your party by phoning 0431 390 920 or email feedback@ptvchannelo.com.
Power FM is total entertainment. From the morning drive with Fiona and Jeff to the drive home with Jeff Black. On the weekends, catch the Crazy Kevin Show, Dennis Mitchell's Breakfast with the Beatles, the Semi-Pro Sports Show, and Racing Nation with James O'Shea, plus the music you grew up with. Keep your radio dial locked on Toowoomba's Power FM, celebrating 10 years. You'll find us at 88.0 on the FM dial or online at www.powerfmradio.com.au.
Oz Hosting is proud to support Switched On IT in bringing practical help to Australian businesses. We're talking to literally hundreds of businesses every day about their IT services, how to make them more efficient, how to make their businesses more efficient, and how to protect their valuable data. If you'd like your IT services securely hosted right here in Australia and expertly managed, talk to Oz Hosting.
When the going gets tough, advertising is a must. Thousands of potential customers make buying decisions every day based on advertising they've seen or heard on radio and television. Are you losing sales because potential customers don't know what you offer? Get your business, product or service in front of thousands of potential customers with a joint advertising package on Power FM and PTV Channel O. Capture a multimedia audience with our affordable radio, TV media advertising package. Stay ahead of the pack by contacting Barry on 0431 390 920 or email feedback@ptvchannelo.com or Jeff@powerfmtoowoomba@gmail.com.